But today it is Barcelona who come away with the win, and that's Sevilla with a loss for the first time in quite a few games because they've picked things up since the international break. As it stands now, Barcelona on top of the table. Girona and Real Madrid facing one another tomorrow at Montilivi. Girona were top spot going into the round, but obviously Barcelona, with that win now, have themselves on top. As for Sevilla, they're in 12th right now. As I mentioned, they have picked up the pace since the international break and things have been going better for them. Shouldn't come as such a surprise. It had been 20 years since they'd last won away at Barcelona and they weren't able to change things there. I mean, so Barcelona got the win and that's what they needed, Craig, after what we'd seen midweek from them. Yeah,
and I said getting a performance out of the way off the back of a bad result for them, dropping points in Mallorca, getting it in on the Friday before the other teams play to go back to the top of the league. With the injuries they've got and the injury they sustained during the game in terms of Rafinha, although, as Alex Kirkland pointed out, they do have players that can come in those positions and cover, but he still is one of their main men. And just scrambling to get the points with that midfield in particular, I think was all round a pretty good night for them. Yeah, it took an own goal to get it done, but in the second half in particular, they looked a lot more dominant. They came out very fast after the break, looked dangerous. João Cancelo on that right side is just, when he gallops forward, and if you don't close him down, when he gallops forward and you give him time and space, he will pick a pass out, and we saw that all the way during the game. He was excellent. So yeah, I think off the back of the midweek result, I think this is a pretty good performance and result for Barcelona. Yeah, it had been a very attacking lineup, as you can see. Felix, Lewandowski, Yamal and Rafinha there. Given the fact that Girona and Real Madrid are playing tomorrow, you mentioned that as a player you do prefer to play ahead of time to let the other teams know what they have to do. Yeah, I mean, some people prefer it differently. I mean, you know, my time in Scotland, Celtic and Rangers were always playing the same one on a Saturday, one on a Sunday, rarely on the same day, and so you kind of knew what was happening in terms of the other team and what you had to do. I prefer to play as the earlier team, get the points, sit back, put my feet up, have a cup of tea or something a bit stronger and enjoy the weekend. And Barcelona can do that now, and I think that's important. And it's put a little bit of pressure on the other teams over the weekend. Alex, obviously they couldn't afford to drop points because of what we're seeing in the league table. But at the moment as well, with everything that's going on in the background at Barcelona, this is also another very important result for them, with the fact that there's those bribery charges now.
Yeah, at least if things are going well on the pitch, that's something to hang on to, isn't it? And that's something to try and focus on and try and talk about rather than everything that's been going on off the pitch. Now, of course, off the pitch, these have been difficult times for Barcelona for a few years now, largely financially. But this Negreira case that keeps developing, this latest development with the judge in the case accusing the club of bribery of a public official with these payments to the former vice president of the refereeing committee. We should say, of course, it's an ongoing case. There's a long way before any conclusion. Barcelona insist on their innocence, but it's a really bad look for Barcelona. And as we mentioned earlier, we're starting to see now signs of just how unhappy I think other La Liga clubs are about this. We saw that today from Sevilla ahead of the game. Sevilla putting out a statement saying, look, our directors, the travelling party, are not going to be attending the usual kind of protocols around this match. They're not going to attend the usual pre-match lunch with Barcelona's directors. They're not going to be sitting up in the director's box. Now, is that a huge deal? Well, no, it's not. You know, if they don't get to have lunch together, it's not the end of the world. Sevilla's directors were still there at the game tonight, but instead of being in the VIP section, they were sat at the back of one of the stands, which made for quite a nice image. But that's not the end of the world, but it's also symbolic. And that's what Sevilla want to do, is make a point, I think, and express just how unhappy they are about this. Now, Barcelona responded and they said, look, this is premature, this is unfair, this is an ongoing court case, let's not forget about the presumption of innocence. And Barcelona essentially have broken off all relations with Sevilla as a result of this. But Sevilla aren't the only club that feel this way in La Liga. So yeah, that rumbles on and will continue for quite some time. I mean, the word bribery, it's there in black and white now, and it's there on the front pages, as you just saw. And this is very, very serious for Barcelona. But yeah, let's see how that plays out, because it's got a long way to go. But like I say, at least amid all of that, if Barca can be winning games on the pitch, then, like I say, they've got something to hang on to and to try and draw the focus away from everything else. So yeah, that makes results like tonight's even more important.